Hey folks, quick explanation on the review assignment for Module 3, page 181, the growing degree days, the GDD. You go to step 13 here. So look at step 13. Read this really carefully. It says use the same formula, but enter the minimum and the maximum and base values directly into the formula. They did this for you in the tutorial, but they're not doing it this time. They also tell you to use absolute references for the temperature range values. Okay, so let me kind of help you figure this out here. So if we go to the growth worksheet, this is the cells or the column that I'm talking about, column G, growth worksheet. If you go to the formulas tab and look in here, they're giving you the GDD formula here. So we're going to add together the minimum and the maximum, divide it by 2, subtract the base. Okay? So we're trying to find min and max of these different cells here, basically. Okay, so it's giving you some other information here as well. Can't be lower than set values, and those are the values that they're going to give you as part of the formula, and we'll go over that here in just a second. So if we go back to the growth worksheet, let's do this in steps. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to figure out, okay, what are they talking about? So what they're basically talking about is to find the maximum of this temperature and this temperature. That didn't work out very good. A little better. Type a comma in there. And the minimum temperature is going to be the 50. And let's just add a parenthesis at the end of that one, and let's see how it works. Okay, so what we've done here is we've just found the maximum of those two temperatures. Right? So which one's higher, 43 or 50? Pretty clear. I'd recommend that you come up here to the formula bar to work, because this is going to get a little bit long. The next part of the formula says to find the minimum of these two temperatures. So this one, hit the comma, and we'll go over and find this one. So the maximum temperature, that one. And then we can put a parenthesis on the end of that, and let's just see what happens. Okay, so it comes up with 119, and it's probably correct. Let's go back to the formula. So it says to divide that by 2 and then subtract the base. So let's go back to our growth formula. It said to divide the whole thing by 2 and then subtract the base, which is over here. So I'll click on that. And if I enter that, it comes up with 34.5 growing degree days. Let's go back and look at our formula. So really important for you to notice that there's a parenthesis before and after the min and the max. And the reason is it wants you to do that first. So the way that we control that is to come in here and enter parentheses around our min and max. And then let's see what the answer comes up to be. Oh, 9.5. That sounded a little better to me. So if you look through this, you can kind of see that this is the full formula. And this is real similar to converting like Celsius to Fahrenheit. Like, yeah, you could just look it up on the weather service, but if you had to calculate that out in your own head, you'd have to use some figures you'd have to use are 32 degrees. Subtracting it, you'd have to multiply it by 1.8, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes through there, and we take all of that complexity for granted. There's a little bit more complexity here, though, because if I try to copy this formula down, I come up with some wacky numbers. So I don't want to do that because that's not right. If I go to look back at the formulas, these formulas are using set cells. And what I mean by that is that these cells in the column E and F are going to change. So they should be relative cell references. So E5 should be relative. M8, however, is not. It's a fixed cell, and that's your value that you're going to use to compare. So if I come over here, I can add in a $M, $8. I can see if my F4 key works, whatever it is. So I'll just type it in so it's brutally obvious to you. $M, $8. If I go over here to the other one, it's fixed as well. So that one needs to be $M, $9. So when we copy our formulas down, we don't want them to change. Same is true here. We want this to be $M, $7. I'm working on a laptop that the function keys don't work very well on. That's why I'm typing them in. So now, if I hit the Enter key, nothing changes for this cell. But when I copy it down, you'll notice that the growing degree days are going to remain somewhat similar. Okay? And let's go back all the way down to the bottom. Let's look at some warm days here. So on a warm day, you would expect it to be higher. So 65 and 83 gets you 21. And a 43 and a 69 gets you 9.5. So if you come through here and just do some checking, that all should make some sort of sense to you. If it were super duper duper hot, 110 degrees, it might not register as well because plants only grow up to a certain temperature and then they're cowering from the heat. So when they're super cold, they're not going to grow quite as much. So look at this, 43 and 59 here gives you 9.5. 54 and 62 gives you 8.0. So that's because the difference between 69 and 62. Okay, the other thing that I just wanted to make sure that you take a look at is if you use the Control key and the tilde key, the one just beneath the Escape key, it allows you to see all those formulas in line here. And I think sometimes that's helpful for beginning to detect the patterns of these things. Okay, that's really all I wanted to show you with this. I think the cumulative GDD you should be able to figure out as far as like running totals go. It's all the same as the other one, harvest ready. All of those if statements are the same as the previous tutorial. So this is really the only column that's going to be a little bit different. So hopefully this helps get you jump started here. And again, this is for Excel Review 3, Step 13. Let me take you back there just so you see that. Yeah, so Step 13. Okay, thanks folks.